Beer me, beer us together naturally.
No, make every word beer. Beer, 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 beer.
Please welcome the man who carries the G 24/7.
It is very clear that everyone must say the Bakersfield song.
From Cheesehead TV, Aaron Nagler.
Carry the G Radio once again coming across this nation, although I'm a little closer to Billy this time around. I'm ensconced across the street from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Billy Schmid coming to us live from the great iHeart Metroplex in the Milwaukee area, 97.3 The Game. Billy, happy Victory Tuesday. Come on.
Victory Tuesday, celebrating. I'm a little frustrated that I did not think about it, and I should have came on up and we should have done this show from where you are sitting right here at the Bankyplex, because I said it the first time I ever witnessed that view that is behind Aaron Nagler. And if you're just driving around, or not if you're driving around, if you're at work listening to this on the radio,
hopefully not driving around,
go to YouTube and go and check out the scene that's behind Aaron Nagler, because I've said it many a time and I believe wholeheartedly in this. There would be no four hymns. There would be no Cialis. There would be no need for anybody to have any issue with ED if they got to look at that site every single day, because that will fire any human being on up.
And that, of course, is the row of Carry the G beer cans behind me. That's what you're referencing. Obviously, sir, I got to say, being in the great land and being able to access Carry the G cream ale whenever I desire. Oh, baby, it's been a good week.
Has it been dangerous?
It's been a good week. Yeah, I've gained some pounds. Definitely packing on the pounds while I'm here. That stuff goes down smooth, man. I don't get to drink it that often, but I'm telling you, there was a point on game day where I'm getting ready. I'm tailgating. Had a couple 2-tree before the game, and a couple 2-tree turned into 4 or 5, and I was because you're playing at night.
Yep. Man, it just keeps stacking up, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, I'm just going to have 1 or 2 after dinner. Well,
that's a real smooth one.
Mm-hmm. If dinner at 4, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm going to have 2 an hour because it's so good. All of a sudden you're like, wait a second, this is adding up here. Now, you guys had dignitaries at your tailgate. I mean, you were doing it big time. You were trying to solve world problems and world hunger and everything.
We're just brokering a pregame peace between the mayor of Green Bay and the mayor of Kansas City here at Banky's house prior to the game. Just, trying to do a little peace in our time. That's all. Just reaching across the respective aisle. That's how we roll. We like to bring everybody together in a feel of togetherness. That's what Cheesehead TV is all about.
So I rode down the elevator after the game with that mayor of Kansas City, and I was trying to figure it out. And I'm like, this guy's got Chiefs stuff on. He's got a Kansas City scarf. But why is everyone being so nice and walking him wherever he needs to go? Then I went and saw the picture that you guys had posted earlier. I'm like, that's why.
It's the mayor.
It's the mayor. Okay,
he was no Taylor Swift or anything like that, but, but look, all the brouhaha around Taylor being there, and we had the mayor, blah, blah, blah. Like, none of that even comes close to equaling the star power that is Tony Shalhoub, who was in the house on Sunday and got probably the least amount of run. You talk about one of the great actors of our time and a huge Green Bay Packers fan, Tony Shalhoub. I love that he was here, and I love that he got to witness that big-time win by the Green Bay Packers.
It was massive. It was one of Nags, and I don't say this lightly. I thought it was one of the best atmospheres to be able to witness, and you could tell how loud it was, even with the Chiefs fans. People can be upset. Guess what? Their team is the best team in the NFL. So when your team is that good, you're going to want to go watch them, and especially in a place that you only go once a decade, and they're huge NFL fans. So to act like Lambeau Field wasn't a pilgrimage for many folks, they're fans of the Arrowhead. Of course they were going to come on over here and enjoy, but they enjoyed to a point, and then the final horn sounded and left sad in a massive swarm, Nags, that you guys probably could hear across the street.
Oh, yeah.
Of Go Pack Go chances folks exited Lambeau on Sunday night.
There are few feelings and vibes better than post-Packers victory, whole hordes of Green Bay Packers fans filing out of Lambeau Field, all communally chanting Go Pack Go.
Yes.
The vibes are immaculate. It's so great.
And there's like a weird, this is just the media side of it, because we're up top. It's a snooze fest. Like, I'll be completely honest. It is not nearly as fun, right?
No.
But what nags, and you'll appreciate this, because everybody like flies down to the elevator. I got to get down there. I got to write my story. Well, you can't go in the locker room for 15 minutes. So you got time, right? So you got a second.
Right.
And we got a walkway that goes kind of just over some of the concession stands. So you look down at the main concourse, and then like alongside is the ramp going to the top part. So what I like to do is I let everyone flow on out of there and rush through, and I'll grab an extra coffee for the post game and kind of go down as everybody is flowing on out. And then I can just have that one moment where I stand there, not having to deal and act like I'm a cool kid, and just listen to the Go Pack Go chants and put myself right in that spot before you go and start talking to fans on the post game of, this is how jubilant this fan base is with this win and how much this meant to everybody that was in attendance. I just think it's one of those moments where you can let it soak in say, people are enjoying this one. And I don't know if you're feeling the same on every show that you do. I think people are enjoying this December and going to enjoy this December a lot more than even years where you felt like you were a favorite to win the Super Bowl.
I mean, the idea of where they were a month ago, right? And then fast forward to the feeling Sunday night and what could possibly lie ahead for this team playing their best ball right when they need to. It's interesting you bring that up, because I wanted to ask you something that I was asked this morning on Zabe's show that I've kind of been pondering all morning, really. What do you think is the biggest factor as far as we've seen them now, those last 2 games in particular? I know they've won 4 of their last 5. They're on a 3-game winning streak. But I don't think anybody would kind of argue against the idea that these last 2 games in Detroit and here at Lambeau against the Chiefs have been by far their best performances as a whole as a team throughout the entire season. What do you think is the biggest factor in that kind of sudden awakening of all 3 phases, complementary football? There's zero doubt those are very different types of performances than we saw prior to Thanksgiving.
I'll go with the super easy cop-out answer. It's Jordan. I mean, like when your most important player is playing the way he is right now, I believe it. I'm going to mess up the coach because I've heard it from 1,000 different ones. Talk about the multiplier. I think it was Luke Fickell was talking about it in terms of the Badgers quarterback this year. But that position in and of itself, Nags, is like a ×3 bonus, right? If you're talking about it from a gambling perspective or a slot machine. But you know what it also can do? It can be a ×3 negative multiplier.
Oh, yes.
That happens when you're playing poorly or the feelings are low. What they have right now is a dude that is playing his best ball, and everybody in the locker room believing that if they play their best ball, they're going to win every game. And that's a dangerous thing. I believe Matt LaFleur is talking about. We're just starting to believe. I think they're now just starting to believe they can beat anybody. They proved it to themselves in the Detroit
these last
game.
2 weeks. How do you not, right?
How do you not? An 8-3 team or 8-2 team, you go into their house and beat them on their most important day. You beat the defending Super Bowl champions on a day where it wasn't like the Chiefs played terribly. No. They just didn't make the biggest plays, and the ball has to bounce your way a little bit. But when you're believing, I feel like the breaks that do go your way, Nags, borrow the same word, are somewhat multiplied. And it just continues to get that avalanche of momentum rolling in your favor.
I think there's zero doubt that Jordan's play has elevated pretty much every week over the course of the last 5 games, right? It's been fascinating to watch. For me, the biggest thing outside of any individual performance, when you look at these last 2 games, getting on the front foot, both in Detroit and against the Chiefs, and being in control of the game from the outset, like whether you go huge shot play to Watson to open things up, get a touchdown, then of course Detroit comes back and ties, but then you score again, and then you get the fumble recovery, and then you're up 2 scores, and now you're on the front foot, right? You are controlling the game, and did so throughout the entirety of the contest. Now you come Sunday night against the Chiefs, again, 2 epic, methodical drives ending in touchdowns for the Green Bay Packers, and then yes, the Chiefs move the ball, but the Packers hold them out of the end zone. Now it's 14-6. Again, you are on the front foot. You are in control of the game, and the Chiefs were chasing them the entire contest and were unable to overtake them. And for me, that's the biggest key. And I do wonder, I know Matt kind of joked about it when he was asked about it on Monday, but I got to wonder if he starts thinking, maybe, I know he obviously took the ball in Detroit, but they lost the toss on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs deferred, so they got the ball right away. Maybe that becomes their default setting. I don't know, man, because this team certainly, you look at these last 2 games, playing with a lead, playing, in control of the game, they're a different animal. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it.
Something goes right early in the game. The momentum is palpable. You can feel the confidence on a sideline when things go your way. And it's one of the reasons why I thought you saw them, even in a loss, have one of their better performances against the Steelers, Nags, is because they got confidence on their first drive, going down and scoring on that team. Even though it was just to tie the game at the moment, you could feel that there was okay, this is not going to be like it had been for the first 7, 8, 9 weeks. And conversely, so when you can't get out onto a good start, that can roll over,
snowball.
Right?
That can
snowball
quick.
as well.
Yeah.
I almost said a really, really bad word. But that can snowball.
Get that
where
dump
weeks,
button ready for Billy.
Yeah, where weeks and weeks go on end, and you're like, dude, the same again? Like, we're doing this again? And it can be monotonous. Now, the success you hope can continue to flood through here. But I think what they've also done, Nags, and I hope that this is the next step that you get to of just beating all the teams that you're supposed to. They got to win a couple of these games, I think, in some different fashions to prove to them that there are more ways for them to win a game, not just got to lead from wire to wire. We got to play from ahead.
For me, you just brought up the biggest kind of storyline and or narrative this week heading into this game Monday night against the Giants, who have just named Tommy DeVito their starter despite Tyrod Taylor coming up off injury. DeVito will get the start yet again. And look, this is a Giants team that took advantage of the Packers in London last year. Yes, they haven't been great this season, and no one should fear them. I know the Packers are 6.5-point favorites, but here's the thing. It's a very different mindset when you go into a place and you're the favorite, as opposed to these last 2 games where most people didn't expect the Packers to win. And, yes, belief, the Packers, proven things. It's a very, very different ball game when you're not, it's us against the world, we're playing with house money. Now everyone expects the Packers to win on Monday night, and they should. They absolutely should. But they got to prove it on the field. And the Giants, for all their faults this year and for how bad they have been, still a professional team coached by the same crew that whooped them in London last year. I mean, cannot take this game lightly in any way, shape, or form.
I'm trying to listen and pay attention really closely to everything you're saying, but I keep staring right behind you and seeing Lambeau Field. And then I just keep having it ring in my ear of, I need one of the 50-year-old weirdo t-shirts before the next time you and I do one of these shows and we'd have it together in person, because listen, you carry the G, that's a badge of honor. The 50-year-old weirdo tag, I mean, you got to put that in your Twitter bio, dude. Like that is, I mean, that is
had
as
it. It was
as possible.
It was there for a hot second, but I was like, you know what?
I missed it.
Yeah, that doesn't define me. Something offhanded comment by some, frat bro radio host does not define me. So we made our little video about it. I had my 2 cents on our show last week, and I'm done with it. It's all good.
But if he comes here, we're gonna whip that candy ass up and down Oneida Street and toss him into a cheese curd bucket.
No.
And enjoy
that
flight on back to my private jet.
I'm just taking victory laps. That's all I need to do. I mean, every game, Jordan Love, Brian Gutekunst, it's all looking like, I was right, he was wrong.
It looks like you might be right. Yeah.
That's all I need.
And Nags, I'll be honest with you, about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I was leaning more on Pat's side. I'm glad I didn't decide anything.
Lots of fans were, man. They were all in my mentions, all in my inbox. I know, man. I hear you.
Do we really know this guy's smart?
I think he looks pretty smart.
I think he looks pretty good now.
Speaking of Goody, well, how about this draft class this year? Holy cow. Talk about
something else, man.
Production from your rookie class. I mean, to a guy. And even down to the undrafted. Look at Malik Heath's catching balls and making first downs, and this is incredibly productive class.
How about their last pickup of the offseason? And by that mean
Ben Sims.
Waiver pickup, cashing a 5-1 ticket to be the first touchdown scored on Sunday Night Football.
You gotta love it. He gets his first Lambeau leap to boot.
And he did it right away. Nags, that was an edict.
No hesitation. Didn't need to be told. He was like, I'm getting in the end zone. I'm jumping in the stands. I'm listening to Robert Brooks. I'm remembering the face of our fathers. I'm in the stands with the fans. You love it. You love to see it.
Doing it the right way. Doing it the right way. And then let Wayne call that somebody was leaping into the south end zone stands, which is another part of the best.
It's an all-timer. It's an all-timer. Gotta have it.
Well, we're going to have Wayne Larrivee coming up here next, the voice of the Packers, almost leading us off here on Carry the G Radio. Nags is captivating me with Lambeau Field in the background. You should be checking it out on YouTube if you're not on 97.3 The Game. It's Carry the G Radio, and it's back with the voice of the Packers right after this.
In this club, on the floor, baby, let's make love. I wanna make love in this club. Hey, in this club, in this club.
Billy, you never fail to deliver. That's right. That's my guy. That's my boy, George Michael, singing the lament at Christmas time. Remember last Christmas, Wayne, when all our hearts were broken and we all felt like this was the end of an era with Aaron Rodgers, and who knew what laid ahead? And now, fast forward a year, it's Christmas time here in Green Bay, and things look so much better. How are you, Wayne?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Doing
better when I get to play George Wham. I mean, goodness gracious, all their greatest albums I got right here on vinyl. So I'm a huge fan.
I know Wayne's a big Wham fan.
You know, I was just thinking, based on what you just said, Nags. All right. Last year's team, 6-6. There'd be a lot of consternation. This year's team, 6-6. And we're elated. We're all,
we are ready to make a run for the Super Bowl, Wayne. It's Super Bowl or bust now.
I mean, really. But
here's the thing. I mean, when you're playing the way the Packers are playing, and we see this kind of thing play out almost every year in the NFL, maybe not as wildly as far as the swing the Packers have had from where they were during that 4-game losing streak and the vibes around the team to this sudden resurgence, looking great on offense, Jordan Love balling out, where, fans are thinking, like, they're going to win 10 games. They're going to get in the playoffs. All this. I mean, we do see the Packers kind of becoming that team that the proverbial no one wants to face, getting hot down the end of the season. Like, I have a hard time kind of dissuading myself from that notion. I mean, you talk about complimentary football, all three phases, and just dominating from the start of these games. Packers are in the exact place they want to be.
The last couple of weeks, they got the ball first, and they went down and scored on their opening drive. And now, if I'm Matt LaFleur, and I know the tendency is to, if you win the coin toss, you defer. You want those two possessions, one at the end of the second quarter, one at the start of the third quarter. I get that. But you know what? These guys do better if they just go down, take the lead, and it changes how the game is played. So I'd be curious to see what Matt does if he wins the toss this week and what he elects to do.
Couldn't agree more. And the idea of being on the front foot and taking control, I think, plays well when you look at Joe Barry's defense. This is another week where I don't think they were quite as dominant up front as they were against the Lions. They certainly didn't kind of disrupt Mahomes as much as they did with Jared Goff. But I will say they limited his opportunities to break the pocket, make some of those wild, incredible plays we've seen throughout his career. The numbers might not have been there, but they did a great job of making sure that he didn't, kill them outside the pocket when that was probably the one way that he could have taken over that game.
Yeah, he had 4 carries, I want to say 20-something yards. And that's Mahomes. He's going to do that when a play breaks down. But I think you're right. They were able to kind of contain the Chiefs. Kelsey is not right. And watching him over the previous 2 games,
totally agree.
He is not right. He's still gutting it out. He's playing, but I'm sure there's more to his nagging injuries than people are letting on. But nonetheless, Mahomes still, they're getting closer, but he's not quite in sync with that receiving core yet. Hey, that's their problem.
Not worried about it. Yeah,
I mean,
so
I'm
true.
not losing any sleep over.
Well, look,
I like the Chiefs. Don't get me wrong; they were my first team in the NFL when I was a young broadcaster. But no, I'm not losing sleep over them.
But look,
they're going to be fine.
For me, that's a perfect example, though. When you look at the job Matt LaFleur and his staff have done shepherding along this young receiving, I mean, by far the youngest in the league.
Yeah,
they certainly weren't on the same page earlier this season. Look at where they are as an offense, just cohesion, being on the same page on any number of plays in a way like you're talking about. The Chiefs are not. Both teams have had all year to work on this, right? And for the job that Matt and that staff has done, for all the heat they were getting earlier in the year, sure feels like that should be talked about a little bit more, considering how bad it was early and how good it looks now.
Guys, I thought a lot about this as well. And I don't know if either one of you would agree with this, but I think each year it takes a little bit of time for a play caller and a quarterback and a new receiving core to get on the same page. And there's kind of a give and take. It takes a few weeks, and today, on the last 2 weeks especially, the game plan, and really it's been over a month now, the game plans, and you could tell the play calling is in sync with what the quarterback likes to do and what they feel they can best do to attack that particular defense on that week. But this stuff, it doesn't just happen overnight, because every year the team is different. Every year you got to figure out, how are we going to win this year? We won that way last year, but that's not applied to this year, even though we got a lot of the same guys back. It's different every year. Anybody will tell you that in pro football. And so I think it's just taken a little while for Matt and, Jordan Love to kind of come together and say, okay, this is what we like to do. This is what works. This is what doesn't work. And I think they're really in sync right now. I find the rhythm of the play calling, along with the maturity that we're seeing now from Jordan Love, as the two subtle keys to that offensive resurgence for Green Bay.
And guys, I love that part of it, Wayne, where there's got to, at some point, there will be the concert between the play caller and the quarterback. And I don't know this for certain. I don't talk to Matt on a regular basis, but I wonder if there was also some of that of trusting what Jordan was seeing out there and putting that into practice, right? Like when you have somebody that's seen everything imaginable in the NFL, it's pretty damn easy to say, okay, I'm going to listen to what hold on, let me write that down. All right. Yep. We're going to go there. We're going to do that. But when a guy's doing it for the first time in consecutive weeks since pre-pandemic, I imagine there was some give and take, Wayne and Nags, that LaFleur had to go through of saying, all right, I got to listen to what he's doing a little bit more, because he's the one doing it and operating the offense.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I think it goes back to what Matt was talking about on Monday, right? Where he was really kind of disappointed in himself, that first start that Jordan had in Kansas City against this defense, and how little he kind of gave him as far as answers for the rush, for that defense. And Matt said they spent time this offseason, going way back to the spring, installing a plan for this type of defense. They knew they were going to face some heavy pressure type defenses, not kind of the real kind of trend in the league now is 2 high safeties, keep it all in front of you. They're facing a number of guys who like to come after you, and I don't think they passed that test with flying colors against Minnesota. I think they certainly did against the Chiefs, and a big part of that was the control you saw from Jordan Love at the line of scrimmage. How many plays, especially in the first half, where Jordan uses his cadence to get the linebackers to bite or the safety to come down, like kind of tip their hand about what their rotation is going to be. Jordan makes the call at the line, makes the check, and gets them into something or a better protection that allows them to take advantage of that. They weren't doing that a month ago. They were doing it all night on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with you, Aaron. I mean, and Billy, I thought Sunday night, a lot of situations where maybe they go with a quick huddle, come to the line of scrimmage. There's maybe 10 or 15 seconds left on the play clock.
Yeah.
And Jordan is at the line, as you mentioned. He's talking. He's, directing. He's, trying to read that defense and figuring out where they're coming from. I think that's been a big part of it. And we're just seeing a little bit more each week of what this quarterback can become. And boy, the trend has been really good. I thought he played well at Pittsburgh. He's played even better since then. And, they've got a lot to look forward to. But I think getting on the same page with the receivers also is a big part of it. And that takes time too. And, people say, well, can't they work all this stuff out, all this familiarity stuff out in OTAs and practice and training camp? What are they doing? Well, it's different in a game. It's wholly different in a game. And it's wholly different from a preseason game. And it does take time. I think every team goes through it, whether you're the Super Bowl champ or not. It takes time to come together, get on the same page. This is how we're doing it this time around.
When Christian Watson makes plays, guys, doesn't it feel like Wayne, you've seen a lot of big time players make plays and hear the crowd react to them. When Watson makes a big play, you could hear it. It was palpable at Lambeau, the crowd reacting to him. But it seems like the offense and the entire sideline gets more momentum when 9 makes a catch, maybe more so than other guys as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's the guy who can really hit the home run consistently for you, and everybody knows that. And he's gone through some injury issues, has another one this week. But, if they can just get him healthy, keep him on the field, they know they've got a home run hitter, and that's so important. By the way, you mentioned the crowd. I don't know what you thought, Nags. That crowd in Green Bay Sunday night was electric, and it was a lot of Chiefs fans and obviously Packers fans, and both sides were deep into that game and really committed to it. And I thought it was a great atmosphere, one of the best I've seen.
It felt like a playoff atmosphere all day long in Green Bay.
We could hear it in the bubble, so that's how you knew it was loud.
Right. Absolutely. It's interesting too when you kind of pull back and you look at their road forward, right? Like obviously, like I was kind of joking earlier, the fans thinking 10 wins, get the playoffs. I mean, they got to beat the Giants, who put it to them last year in London. Look, they have now bested Herbert. Then they went to Detroit and got Goff, and then they took on Mahomes. But this is the same crew that let Desmond Ridder and, Kenny Pickett walk up and down the field on them. You cannot take this team lightly. Tommy DeVito getting the start, no shade here, but like that's a guy you should dominate. That's a guy that you should be able to limit at least. But hey, Brian Daboll, if he's proven anything, he knows how to move the football. He knows how to create
defensively. And this is going to be a big part of going down the stretch. Trying to get a handle on run defense. And I understand Joe Barry's in a tough spot here, guys. I don't know if this makes any sense to you, but he's got these two young corners out there. Well, Corey Ballantyne has some veteran experience, but he's not
still
starter.
A young guy, though. Yeah,
okay? Yeah. And then you've got Carrington Valentine, 7th-round rookie out there on the corners. So we all say, okay, let's load up the box, stop the run, single high safety. Well, you got those two corners out there on an island in that
asking
case.
to be cooked. Yep.
It's really, it's tough. It'll be interesting to see what they do in this game. Do they respect, DeVito enough to maybe bring an extra safety into that box? Do they say, okay, try to beat us over the top? We don't think you can. But, it's not easy. This run defense, we're all saying, well, you got to stop the run, stop the run. Easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the personnel they have on the back end of that defense. Relatively inexperienced, I should say.
I think a big part of it, when you look at the game in Pittsburgh, that's exactly how I expect the Giants to approach it. As far as, the Packers in that game played a lot of too high in the first half. And the big adjustment Joe made at halftime was bringing down that safety, which doesn't guarantee anything. There are still ways to run with guys in the box. But my hope is that, okay, we don't wait around this time. Like, yes, you are going to trust those those young corners a little bit more than you probably would like to. But I think that's the path, especially against a team that, they do draw up. They have a great offensive kind of idea. Like, they haven't been able to execute a whole lot. I think the problems at quarterback have seen to that.
I like that way of putting it. Idea. They do. They have great schemes. Doesn't always play out the way they
want
it to go.
No any further. We had this same discussion last year heading into the London game, right? Like, Saquon Barkley's going to go for 200 yards, blah, blah, blah. You get to London, and what do? They picked them apart in the intermediate passing game. They kept running them off and then dragging guys into shallow cross. That shallow cross killed them in London. So that's what I mean. Daboll knows how to draw stuff up. And so, to your point, Wayne, it's not as easy as just drop a guy down and stop the run, because there are ways of taking advantage of that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But, this is a great opportunity for the Packers, another primetime game. The Giants are playing better. Now, their last two wins have come against a Washington team that's fading and a Patriots team that's going through its worst offense.
That literally can't score.
Just can't score. No, cannot
score.
Literally can't score. No points, okay? So, and they're coming off a bye and they feel good. And Dexter Lawrence up front, he's a beast. But we saw Chris Jones. There's nobody better than him. Big guy up front. Aaron Donald is a small guy up front. Chris Jones is a big guy up front. So, we're seeing Dexter Lawrence, good player and that type of thing. But I just, guys, I want to go back to what we were talking about a minute ago. The start of the game against Kansas City, the opening drive, 13 plays, took almost 8 minutes off the clock.
Yes.
There were 7 passes and 6 runs. And they took the starch out of that pass rush initially. Now, Spags adjusted two drives later, started to get some consistent pressure. But for those first 2 drives, they were running at that defense, and they pounded it. Because why? Well, December is Dillon time.
Yes, sir.
A.J. Dillon had, he had 30 yards on that first drive, and I thought that was just really well done. That's something. And hey, is A.J. is he going to average 6 yards a pop? No, but he's going to certainly give that defense something to feel as you start out offensively. So I think, I really think Matt has had some great 15 play calls. You know how they set up the first 15 plays of the game.
Oh, yeah.
They've been excellent. They have been excellent. I think he understands the quarterback he has, what he likes to do and can do. And I think also they're saying, hey, It's December. It's cold. These guys aren't going to want to tackle our guy. Let's run them.
Wayne said something to us after the game, Nags, when he stopped down by us to mention to Chris Jones, and A.J. Dillon might be in that category too. I think they list A.J. Dillon at 245. He feels like he's about 270 when he's running in the cold weather. And Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence, same deal, Wayne. I think they list Chris Jones at like 295. There's no way he's less than 315. Dexter Lawrence might be 380 pounds and still move better than 320 pounders. The guy's unreal.
Here's the thing, too. Here's the thing with these big pass rushers in the middle, right? That's where you get in trouble. Where, okay, that's a guy who can wreck shop, right? I will say, though, I mean, Chris Jones got his in that game. He's always going to. You know, there are certain snaps where you leave him one-on-one, and because the design is to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quickly, so you're going to live with that one-on-one, which he inevitably is going to win, and did so at times.
Right.
But, man, for all of the consternation and hand-wringing we had earlier in the season about the offensive line, how about the job they have done up front? They have had a really good, consistent plan each and every week for the major problem point up front, whether it has been Aaron Donald, whether it is TJ Watt, whether it is, you know, somebody like Chris Jones. They have done a really good job of maybe not completely eliminating that player, but making sure they don't affect the game the way we were seeing earlier in the season, whether it was Hutchinson in that first game, whether it was Crosby out in Vegas. They have pretty much, again, not completely eliminated, but they have certainly neutralized the opponent's best kind of game wrecker for the last month or so.
And there again, also, we're seeing, you know, they're alternating players at left tackle and at right guard, and, you know, just trying to get a mix in there. And it seems to be working right now. That's not ideal that you would do that. You really want 5 guys, Billy, as you could attest, 5 guys to go out there every snap, every game. But it just, that's not in the cards. So they found a better way to kind of keep that line fresh and keep it working well. But Nags, you're exactly right. I thought they did an excellent job in Detroit. I thought they did a very good job against a rugged Kansas City front that brings pressure from unusual spots, especially off the edge with those cornerbacks and that type of thing. So dangerous. And yet the Packers had a very good plan for that. So, yeah, moving forward, hey, this is, I think the coaching staff is not getting enough credit for having a handle on what these guys are doing and can do and how they can win.
Totally agree. Absolutely agree. 1,000%. Billy, I got a quick question for you before we head out to break. Matt was asked, like, would you prefer somebody to kind of claim that job? I think Stenovich was asked the same thing. Like, is the hope, because they've been rotating now at tackle and guard for a month plus, like, and they said publicly, our hope is the desire is someone to win that job. I think that's a carrot dangling in front of those guys. I don't think there's any desire for someone to take that job. They love this rotation. They love being able to throw guys in and out. They're thriving right now. That competition is bringing it out of Runyon, out of Nyman, out of these guys who are going in and out. Because what are you doing on the sideline? You're sitting there going, I want to freaking play.
Yeah,
I think they're enjoying. I think they're really enjoying this problem.
It keeps everybody engaged, no doubt about it, because you don't know when your series is coming up, and you're not just over there picking out slivers.
Exactly. 1,000%. Wayne, you are the absolute man. Can't thank you enough for joining us each and every week on Carry the G Radio. We'll be listening to your call on Monday night. Thanks a lot, brother.
Sounds great, Nags. Take care, Billy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy. Absolute best, dude. The absolute best, Nags. There's not much. There's no one better than
what is our life, Billy? What is our life?
It's a stupid life we get to live in.
We were just talking ball for like 15, 20 minutes with the voice of the Green Bay Packers.
And you're sitting there watching people go and buy Christmas and St. Nick presents, Christmas presents, because they got to make sure that you load that thing on up with stockings and stuffers and trinkets. Pro Shop is bumping. We're bumping here on Carry the G Radio. It's a wild day. And the Packers are 6-6 with 5 games to go.
Playoffs.
Doesn't get better than that.
Playoffs are on the horizon.
Uh-oh, he's saying it. Are you?
Playoffs are on the horizon, Billy.
Is Aaron Nagler jinxing anything?
It's a possibility. I'm just saying it's a possibility, right? In a way that I didn't expect December to be landing in my lap with a possible playoff scenario for the Green Bay Packers. Like, it's a beautiful thing.
Is it a possibility, Nags, or would we be disappointed now if it doesn't happen? That's what I want to ask you on the other side here.
Oh, no. Come on now.
Aaron Nagler will answer it next on Carry the G Radio.
Carry the G Radio rolls on into the end of hour one. Listen, all y'all, it's a sabotage. It's a sabotage of expectations, of beliefs. Everybody, I got the receipts, people. I know who's out there tweeting at me, emailing me, Facebook messaging me, you boomers. I know what's up. All you all out there who were ready to fire Matt LaFleur and start Sean Clifford, y'all need to repent. Y'all need to come up in here and repent.
Had an individual call in after the Thanksgiving Day game, said that we should maybe think about starting Sean Clifford the final 3 games of the year, see what he's got, because then we could trade him and a 3rd rounder and get like a 1st round pick. More important things to do, like trying to go and make the playoffs with your first year starting quarterback.
That's where I live. I play to win the game, Billy. I don't know about all these losers who want to tank for draft position, like was definitely in the mix about a month ago. You play to win the game, Billy.
I did mention Tank Radio. Didn't go full Tank Radio. And I'm very lucky that I have not had to, not only in my professional life, Nags, but I really haven't had to in my Packers fandom life ever go into Tank Radio, because I didn't want them to ultimately fire Mike McCarthy in 2018, even though they did those final 4 games. I wanted them to beat the Bears because I don't like the Bears, right? So at no point did I go into, let's just worry about draft position here. 2006, I was too young and I didn't really realize what it was. More importantly, A.J. Hawk was my favorite football player in the world. So I wanted to make sure that they got A.J. Hawk. I knew they'd probably get that in the 5th pick. All right, so that was fine with me. I was very okay at that moment. Now, I have a vested interest in this. Now,
yes, you do.
Vested on the other side because I bet my friend Mike Heller, who we're talking in his radio slot. Nags, I had under 6.5 wins for the Packers in 2023.
Oh, boy.
Their next one, I pay up $100 to that beautiful Packers Pro Shop across the street from you. Mm-hmm. That's a price I'm very, very okay paying.
Oh, yeah.
Now, watching what the last 4 weeks have been. Otherwise, if it would have been 7-10 and they sneak on in towards the back end, it would have been like, oh man, could have just one more game, and I would have been able to buy the youngster a 4T Jordan Love jersey. Instead, I got to worry about this 2T because it's on sale and he's only going to fit into it for like a month and a half. But Nags, that's not the problem now. I'm not going to have to worry about that kind of conversation because now I'm going to be surprised, to be completely honest with you, if they don't make the playoffs from where they sit here at 6-6 and looking at the rest of this bubble in the NFC.
I mean, look, I'm rooting for it. I'm obviously pulling for it, but I don't know what it is. I hear fans talk about this all the time, and I get it. I'm excited, but I'm really, really about that let's go 1-0 every week life. Like, all I care about right now in this moment in my life is the Green Bay Packers beating the Giants. Like, that is it. That's
also got to be a little personal vesting deal, right? Because you don't want to go back home after they lose to the Giants.
There's some of that. There's no doubt.
This one's important to Aaron Nagler.
I live amongst Giants fans and know many of them. So, yes, it is definitely always a problem walking around the streets of New York City in my Packers gear the week after the Giants beat the Green Bay Packers in any capacity, whether it's in London last season, whether it's in the freaking NFC Championship game, whenever it is.
Yep. Division round playoffs when you're 15-1, best team in franchise history.
Yep. Absolutely hate it. It's just not a great way to live life. So, yeah, there's a little personal investment here.
I love it. Listen, got to go 1-0 because you know what the most important game of the season is? Next one. And the only one that you can win is the one that you have on your schedule in front of you. I do think there's something to, and when we were talking to Wayne about it in the last segment, there's something to the learning of not only how to win, not only what your quarterback, I think, is comfortable and confident in doing at the line of scrimmage. There's something to the players that the rest of the team responds to. And Nags, I don't know if you got the same feeling, but later into the season, and success will do this to you, right? When you start running for 4.1 a carry, more people are going to be excited about it. But did you watch that sideline and you see the dudes on the field when A.J. Dillon ran over somebody?
Trucking fools. Yes,
it is a confidence. And when Christian Watson caught those 2 passes, the first one on the comeback route, 15 yards down the field, returns of the ball, set up a beautiful offshoot of what they did on the deep shot last week. I'm just going to stop right here. I'm going to grab these 15 yards and say thank you very much, get into Chiefs territory.
Defensive back like 5-10 yards off because he's scared to get beat deep.
You're supposed to go deep. You're supposed to keep running. That's why I was going to meet you here on the 20.
Exactly.
The whole place blows up. And there's a response to when Christian Watson makes a play that I feel like is just a little bit different. You start pressing those buttons as the head coach. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you do as the play caller. And it feels like he is getting more and more confident in which buttons to press at certain times to get the team to respond.
I'm glad you brought up the Watson thing because, as Wayne alluded to now, dealing with another injury, right? Hamstring popped on him a little bit, tagged him a little bit at the end of that Chiefs game. And look, how crazy is it that this team, what they have done over the course of the last month offensively, most of it, if not all of it, without Aaron Jones, right? A.J. Dillon, they have found a way of working with Dillon as their lead back. They've mixed in Taylor. Robinson got a carry or two on Sunday night. Like, they have done more than make do. Like, Dillon has become like a focal point of the offense. And I bring this up in relation to Watson. How exciting is it knowing that they have operated without Watson throughout this season? Obviously, he's missed a bunch of time with injury already. You as a play caller and a game planner and a play designer, if you're Matt LaFleur and that offensive staff, you've got a number of guys that have proven they can step up when called upon. They can step up when you don't have a Christian Watson. Think about Dontavian Wicks. He's still open. He's still open. From Sunday night, he's still open. He's open almost every time he steps on a football field. Like, they have done a great job bringing these guys along, developing them to the point where now, okay, if Watson, and we don't know, we'll hopefully get an update tomorrow, but if Watson does have to miss Monday night, I feel pretty darn good about Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Tucker Kraft getting into the mix.
Give me some Malik Heath in that deal as well. Yeah,
Malik Heath stepping up when called upon. So if you're a defensive coordinator, these last couple games, you're probably sitting there going, okay, well, they're really starting to feature Watson. I got to roll coverage there. Now, even without Watson, you're like, okay, who do I focus on? There really isn't a guy. Maybe Jaden Reed and some of that orbit motion, the jet sweep stuff, but there really isn't one guy you can key on, which I think plays into the Packers' hands. I love that this is a very multiple offense that you really can't tell how they're going to hurt you in the passing game.
And you got to key on one guy, and that's Jordan Love. And he has been the key, I just believe, to this 4 out of 5 deal. It was the whole season. It was what you wanted to get any answer to this year. And week by week, Nags, I think we're getting our answer that he is a pretty special dude.
100%. And that's the thing, right? Okay, pretty sure Jordan Love's the guy. We've checked the box, I believe. Now, your beliefs may out there in the listening audience may differ. I understand that. But for me,
that's
Aaron Nagler,
sure,
absolutely okay. But for me, I feel pretty secure in the knowledge that Jordan Love is the guy going forward for the next X number of years, right? Getting to the playoffs this season, first year as a starter, youngest offense in the NFL. That's icing on the cake, baby.
Oh,
if they can do that, oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a party in Titletown. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Well, this has already been fun, and we got one more hour of fun to play. Hour 2 of Carry the G Radio is right after this.
Carry the G Radio, hour number 2. Coming at you from Green Bay and the Milwaukee area. Bill Schmid on the deck. Aaron Nagler here across the street from Lambeau Field talking Green Bay Packers football. And, Billy, we didn't talk about the number one social media narrative heading into that game on Sunday night in the entirety of our first hour. No, sir.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Not at all. Not even close. No, Taylor Swift took that L. Man, look, let me tell you something. First one. Let me tell you about this.
Good point.
So, you're an online entity like Cheesehead TV. You're covering all aspects of the game, of the contest, of the event, including the arrival of, the participation of one Taylor Swift, which, look, I got no bones. I think she's an amazing, brilliant pop artist. She happens to be on the wrong side of this contest as a Chiefs fan, but you know what? Respect. I love that she's coming to watch her boy play ball. Like, I'm all in on that.
And you're in about the relation. You think that it's true. It's
oh yeah, I think it's very real.
Yeah.
I don't think this is PR. Like, she
Yep.
doesn't need it, and I think he's doing fine without her. Like, I think they're genuine.
He's
like,
Mr. Pfizer.
whatever.
I think he's doing okay.
He's doing fine. But the way this created division with my children is why I really, really needed the Packers to get that W on Sunday night, because all week long, for the first time in my 50 years on this planet, my girls cared about a Packers game, but not because of the Packers, because Taylor Swift was going to be there to hand the Packers an L. Her presence alone meant that the Green Bay Packers were going to lose.
Come on, girls.
So now, for the rest of my life, I can say, Green Bay Packers, power of Lambeau.
Yeah,
Tay Voodoo's got nothing on that.
Yeah, that's karma for you, girls. Now, if you would have just listened to Dad a long time ago, would have taught you to be on the right side of this thing, but you decided not to.
It was funny, though, because anytime any kind of Taylor Swift thing came up during the week, instantly, my girls were texting me. They knew about it right away, and I'm like, I jokingly put it out there sometimes on Twitter, and people are like, wow, I'm impressed how quickly they know things, like, considering they're not NFL fans. And I'm like, you have not met a Swiftie. These people are so obsessed, like, more so than I am about the Packers, and that's saying something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they are dedicated.
And this coming from my sister, who first asked if Travis Kelce was good enough to be dating Taylor Swift, right?
Obviously.
Like, dialed in now.
Got a vest.
Like,
Got a vest.
So
yep.
she's like, well, they need to throw it to Travis more. Why? Because Taylor's there. He's going to play better.
He's going to play better.
Obviously. I can't argue with that logic. I will say,
the analytics nerds have nothing on the Swifties.
I'm interested to know what that box was like. While after the 12-minute mark of the third quarter, Kelce didn't get the ball once.
Right.
Like, unless they were throwing it, and maybe they count the target on the Hail Mary. He didn't have another target, Nags, for the final, what is that? I'm not good at math. That's 28 minutes of a game, 27 minutes of game time. Like, that's poor management from the best player in the league, and Andy Reid did not force the ball over to him at some point. But I was very happy to see it. Now, I enjoy the smiles on people's faces, right? Like, this is the giving season. You enjoy that?
Absolutely.
The smile on my friend Doug Russell's face when he came up to the press box from the loading dock with that digital asset. I mean, Nags, you've watched your girls open presents on Christmas. You've experienced life.
I know
that smile from my man Doug Russell was close to what I envision when my young son rips open his first Christmas present was like. It was that giddy. It was that joyful. So I took a lot of joy in my friends being that happy about it. And you know what I did? I grabbed the binoculars at one point from the third row up there. I looked over across and just above Reggie's name on the Ring of Honor.
Right.
Saw the red trench coat. It's good. It's cool. I can't know. You'd be able to tell me more. She the most famous non-football player to be in attendance for a Packer game? Like, if they had presidents there, have they had, back
in the day,
she's one of the most famous indivials in the world.
Oh,
right?
no question. I mean, she's the biggest celebrity in modern era to come to Lambeau. There's zero doubt. I mean, especially as a spectator. That's like Michael Jackson showing up in the 80s. It's just huge. She's a monster. And, like, again, God bless the Green Bay Packers for getting that W. Because for the rest of my life, I got the receipts. I got the bragging rights. Tay Voodoo got nothing on the green and gold.
That is awesome.
You know what that calls for?
Were
Billy?
they talking trash too in the text to you?
Yes. This is
awesome.
my point.
Way
this
to go,
is
Oliver.
my point.
Yeah, proud of her.
But that calls for one thing.
Woo! It's finally a victory cold one.
It is hour number 2 on Carry the G Radio. Let's have a nice cold Carry the G, the official beer of Cheesehead TV.
And the official beer of Packers fans everywhere, to be honest with you. I mean, if you're not enjoying a Carry the G on a Victory Tuesday or on Victory Monday with our Victory Chicken that we had yesterday, you're not doing it correctly.
I will say, one of the kind of more surreal moments on Sunday afternoon, going through lot 1, I was looking for our social team, was out there doing little clip
Those
videos,
kids are
etc.
hilarious, by the way.
Oh, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot. Wyatt and company
fan of
do a
those
great.
kids, yes.
They do a great job. But so I was searching for them in lot 1, and I'm walking by tailgates where people are drinking Carry the G. I have no idea who these people are, and they're drinking our beer. That's awesome. Surreal. That's surreal. I mean, it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
It's got to be cool for you and Banky at points, and people will laugh when you wax poetically about certain things like this.
Right,
but
sure.
when this is what you've always wanted to do, and I'm assuming here, but I believe this was your dream for a long, long, long time, right? Life's work to be able to do it, and to have that in the parking lot, people that are not yelling, "Hey, Nagler! Oh my God, Nagler!" right? Could have walked right on by them. They might not even know you from Adam, but they're drinking your product before they go in and watch your favorite team. That's pretty damn cool, dude.
I can't describe it. Like I said, surreal is the only word that really kind of covers it. Not unlike the surreal feeling of the Green Bay Packers suddenly being the darling of the national media. I mean, you can't move for love or money without some pundit talking about how great Jordan Love is playing, how wonderful the Packers are. But it's like the national media just wants to gaslight us. Like, we don't know what you all were saying back in November, October. Like, we understand that it's a day-to-day business. People are reacting to the latest game, and there were plenty of games that were not very good. But the way they go about it, the way these national guys, frame things, we've gone from, the Packers are probably going to have to draft a quarterback because Jordan Love's not the answer, to Jordan Love, possible MVP candidate. It's like whiplash. It's total whiplash having to deal with the Nationals watching the Green Bay Packers.
Well, and I wondered when it was going to happen because after the performance on Thanksgiving, there's maybe 7 to 10 games that will draw a bigger number than any of the Thanksgiving Day games do.
Right.
From a national TV audience, right?
Yep.
Now, Sunday night may have been Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift in attendance. They didn't show her on camera, which I was a little bit surprised by. I think one time.
I think one time.
They showed her one time.
Shot.
Come on, what are we doing here, NBC? I figured it was going to be half the
I think
visual.
most football fans were probably happy with that decision.
Was there more Taylor Swift or more shots of the Vince statue outside? I think Vince beat her.
Vince definitely beat her. Oh,
Vince beat her.
Speaking of Vince, how about the Pro Football Hall of Fame giving his family the ring posthumously? I mean, long deserved because of the change in their policy, etc. It's just great to see him recognized.
Is that one of the dumbest policies of all time, that they weren't giving it to people that were not living?
Yeah, I mean,
because I didn't get Nags, and again, hand raised in there. I probably should have done more prep. All right. When they announced that, when the press release came out on Friday, I read it on the air, and I'm like, that's pretty ridiculous that they haven't honored
Vince King Lombardi
we've
already.
Been playing pro football for 100 years. He's been gone for 50 years, and we haven't done this yet. But for whatever the rule was, for them not to do it, to finally make right on it, fantastic. And for Henry Jordan's family as well.
Absolutely.
Much deserved.
No
but it
question.
was like,
but here's my thing. When people start grousing about the rules and the policy, and you're 100% correct, it's ridiculous that it took this long, whatever. Man, how long did it take to get Leroy Butler into the Hall of Fame? How long did it take to get Jerry Kramer into the Hall of Fame?
That's true.
I don't take the Hall of Fame very seriously because it doesn't take itself too seriously, given the guys who are obvious. I mean, 1,000,000,000% obviously deserving of being in the Hall who aren't in the Hall of Fame. I got no time for it. I don't. I'm very happy, and I absolutely stumped for Leroy throughout basically since the creation of Cheesehead TV.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely knew he was worthy of getting in. So happy to finally see him get in. We were, absolutely working in concert with Jerry Kramer's daughter to stump for him to get in because he's so deserving. I have nothing but love for every guy that gets that honor. But, man, you talk about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I see so many people getting arguments about guys who's in, who's not. Man, I just don't care. I don't take it seriously because they don't take themselves seriously. That's the way I view it. I mean, Sterling Sharp is a perfect example. He's a guy who should have been in 20 years ago. The fact that he's sitting here at the kind of the whims of the senior committee is absolute nonsense because he was a man among boys when he played. I mean, it's ridiculous.
and that's something that I've educated myself on over the last couple of months and years, and doing the shows with you. You've been able to open my eyes to that because most of his work was done just before I came onto this earth.
Right.
But to see what he was doing to players and how dominant he was, it baffles me that people would not vote Davante Adams in at this point because he's the best player at his position for like 3 to 4 years. And that was Sterling Sharp 30 years ago, was the best player at his position year in and year out.
I mean, the numbers he put up, it's no doubt he would have been neck and neck with Rice if he doesn't get hurt. I mean, and that's not hyperbole. He absolutely would have been. And the fact that the entire stadium would know Sterling's going to get the ball and they couldn't stop it. And he did a lot of this work before Brett Favre showed up. Like, Brett absolutely fed him. There's no doubt about it. But even before Brett's arrival, he's putting up numbers with whoever at quarterback. I mean, that's the sign of a great player.
Now, and you and I can maybe disagree on this, but I just, when you have a player like that, and a la Travis Kelce for Pat Mahomes, that's malpractice, not getting that guy as many targets as possible game in and game out.
Totally
and I understand it's chess, not checkers. There's other things on the other side that limit you to do that. But like when people used to blast Aaron for getting the ball to Davante 12 times, forcing the ball to Sterling Sharp, guess what? Tyreek Hill should be forced the football on any opportunity possible. Like you need, as a great player, to be a great quarterback, you need to find your best players and say, I need to get him the ball right now.
It's the old adage, think players, not plays.
Yeah, it helps.
Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. And you've got a great one. You want the ball in their hands as much as possible. And I understand teams are going to try and take it away, which they certainly did with Sterling, and it didn't matter. That's the thing. That's the sign of greatness. Like the whole building knows where it's going. The defense is designed to stop it, and they can't.
Yeah,
that's
greatness.
Enjoy this. That's greatness, and he should absolutely be in the hall. I believe we have a caller on the line. I got Wayne.
We do.
In Port Washington calling in to Carry the G Radio. Wayne, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, hi, guys. I was just wondering, Aaron, if you guys could talk about Lucas Van Ness a little. I really don't hear him discuss much. I was wondering what you think, what you see, and how he's coming along, and what his potential might be.
That's a great question, and something that, I don't think he gets a lot of run because of Jordan Love's ascendancy. Sucks up all the oxygen, right? And when we talk about the defense,
and how good Rashawn Gary's been,
and Rashawn Gary has been lights out, and the defense creating turnovers, etc. The whole front has kind of been the story, right? But look, Van Ness got his second sack, right, coming off this last game. I think he's active as hell. I don't doubt for a minute he's still swimming a little bit. I think he's getting more snaps. You're seeing him more involved. You're seeing him kind of in the rotation a little bit more now here in the back second half of the season. And that's obviously a good thing. He needs to play. And he's starting to produce. He's starting to figure it out. But he's still a very young player. I do think we're going to see more of him as this season goes along. I don't doubt for a moment that he's going to take, a significant jump from year 1 to year 2, just being around it all offseason rather than kind of the whole circuit you do in the draft process. I think building out that frame a little bit more, getting a little bit stronger, especially in the legs, he is going to be a force. I don't doubt that for a moment. You look at the athletic upside, what he could become. I think he could become a very serious piece of the puzzle on defense, not just rushing the passer, but setting the edge, being one of those powerful, long-armed guys that they love. I don't want to incur the wrath of Matt LaFleur here. No, I'm not talking two-down linemen. I'm not talking defensive end versus outside linebacker.
But watch your mouth.
I know, right? But as an outside backer in this system, he fits perfectly. And it's not consistent yet. There are certainly plays where he gets overrun. he gets taken advantage of because of the fact that he's, a little green. But like I said, they've been playing him more. They've certainly on Sunday night, he was in the rotation a lot more. And he, hey, like I said, he got to the quarterback. He was active. I think we're going to see little spurts like that, little glimmers. I don't think he's ever going to have a game this season where we're remember Clay Matthews in his rookie year where he was having 2 sack games and big performances with 10 tackles and all of that. I don't think that's in the cards this season just because he right now is more of a rotational guy behind Preston and Rashawn. But I tell you what, that check is in the mail, and I'm excited to see not only the development down the course of this kind of last month or so, but especially, kickoff next year. I think he's going to be a legit problem for offenses.
Not having the amount of opportunities that Clay did, and I like that name that you bring
That's
on.
That's a very, very, very good point.
He was he was on the field all the time.
From the kickoff of week 1. Yes, correct.
During the draft show, I didn't love the pick. I didn't love the pick.
This is why we need to be doing draft shows together so I can talk you down from that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't love it. However, it's a premier position. It's one of the 3 most important positions on the field.
Yes, sir.
So I totally understand why they did it. For Van Ness, I don't know that it's anything he's done that's limited his time, and I don't know where you think on this. I don't think they anticipated Preston Smith playing as well as he has.
Oh, man.
Right?
Preston's been balling out this last month.
Big time. And he's been one of their most consistent run and pass defenders on that side of the ball to be able to rush the passer when necessary, but he's strong against the run and he wants to hold an edge, which is important. I think, and this is for any pass rusher in pro football, you got to learn how to rush when you get to the NFL. Because Lucas Van Ness, if you watch his tape in college, he just two-handed bench pressed guys and guards generally back into quarterbacks.
Out of the club.
Breaking news. You will not do that to anybody in the NFL. Right? They will laugh at you if you try to do that and hold you on up and say, now you get out. Right? That's kind of how that works. So he's got to learn how to rush. He's got to learn his counters and everything. But his explosiveness, and if he can catch the edge like he did against I can't remember if it was Smith or if it was 64, the replacement tackle on his sack. I think it was Smith, and Donovan Smith is now a turnstile at his age. But when he can get the edge, you can see the speed, you can see the physicality. You're not leaning him out. Once he gets that rip around you, he's going to get to where he wants to go to. He needs to learn counters, as every pass rusher does. And it's one of the reasons why you rarely see guys take off at that position in the NFL. Myles Garrett, it took 2 to 3 years. He was the number 1 overall pick. And that's generally how it goes when you're talking about outside rushers in the league. You got to learn how to beat guys because guys are going to be able to take away what you do best right away. Once they see you for 10 plays and they've watched you on film, they say, okay, I can't let him do this to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, look, there's zero doubt. You talk about his speed. Once he has the edge,
it's serious.
Gets inside, it's over, man. It's over. Talk about running guys down. That's his forte, right? But I love how they're starting to let him play with his hand in the dirt a little bit more.
He's got to have his hand in the dirt.
They've got him inside and out now, and I love it.
It seems like he's far more comfortable with it, and not that he can't and won't play well if his hand's not in the dirt at some point, but he's young. He hasn't played a whole lot of football, right? Nope. We don't let sophomores start at Iowa. All right. You're going to be a senior if you're going to start at Iowa. So he hadn't played a ton. And it was one of the reasons why I didn't love the pick. But now watching it more and more, you see, okay, that athleticism, I get exactly why they took him at 13.
Let me ask you this. Did you like the Rashawn Gary pick when it happened?
You kidding? No. No.
Are you sensing a trend here?
No. Well, Braxton, come on. Broderick Jones was right there. Come on, you're going to tell me you're going to pass on one of the first-team All-SEC left tackles?
Trust the process, my friend. Trust the process.
Come on.
It's all about draft and develop. It's draft and develop. The develop part is a very important piece here, my friend.
Oh, but I was ready to start puffing my chest out after that Pittsburgh game. Y'all see how Broderick Jones played? Y'all see how Now, see, now talk to me in 2-3 years, and hopefully I'm again holding a fat L on that one. Yep. Yes, I'll eat. Yep. I'll eat crow. Put a little hot sauce on it, but I'll eat the crow when it's necessary.
I love it. Nothing like some fresh crow here on a Tuesday with Billy Schmid,
In the
Aaron
good
Nagler,
land. Yeah, no
and
doubt.
Carry the G Radio. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Get yourself some Carry the G, the official beer of Cheesehead TV. Carry the G Radio rolls on halfway through hour 2. Aaron Nagler here across the street from Lambeau Field. Billy Schmid holding it down there in the iHeart multiplex in the greater Milwaukee area.
Why is your
Billy,
background so much cooler than mine?
what do you mean? You got Iron Jock behind you. You got 97.3.
Brewer Contracting. My man Ken.
Brewer Contracting.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty dope, man. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you got guys going in there and buying Christmas gifts and enjoying Hanukkah trinkets that they're picking on up there to celebrate and toast with gifts.
I may or may not have melted down my credit card at the pro shop the other day.
I was wondering.
I may or may not need a second bag. May need to check my luggage on the way back to New York.
What do we get? Come on now. Let's.
No, I can't say
good?
it. That's for the.
Oh, sorry. There were surprises. Okay, sorry. I thought
gifts.
I thought Nags just went on in there and unloaded a clip on the personal account. Yeah, I was let's go. You got all
December
this
1st
TV merchandise.
Don't you do this? December 1st, I do not buy anything for myself that is not like completely necessary. Like the food, the rent, all of that. But it's all about, it's the holiday season, man. I'm gearing up. I got to get ready. I got 3 girls. I got a girlfriend. I got family. That all adds up real quick. So
yeah, that's true. It does. And that's why, I should probably have started to buy some of them. Like, I don't know if it happens to you where somebody says, that'd be a really good gift idea for me. Sweet. I'm getting that for you.
Yep.
Now, 4 weeks later, I'm like, what was that?
What was that thing again?
And then you can't ask because
what did you want again? Because I'm very obviously going to get it for you for Christmas.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's going to be signed from me. So just so you know,
I will say the greatest advent in the history of gift giving is these kids of mine who are now old enough to make their lists, put it in a Google Doc, and send it to me via email.
Either that or just send you the link on Amazon.
No. The links are in the doc. That's the whole point. Dude, I can't. It's the easiest thing in the world now. They literally
I love your kids, man. They're awesome.
Send me the doc. They have the Amazon or whatever, wherever it is. The link is in the doc.
Dad, this is what you get.
This is
15% off when you use promo code
Arthur. 100%. Dude, literally me last night. Literally on Amazon with the promo code. Yes, sir. 100%.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got to have it here for Christmas. Got to be ready,
See, now the best part is the present that I buy this year, never going to even know. Like, going to have no idea. Well, and luckily,
be photographs. There'll be remembrances.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Then in 5 years, it'll be me. And luckily, no longer will have to be fighting down the doors to get the Tickle Me Elmo. But, there'll be a time when, Dad gets the Kirkland brand of some. Come on! Not what I wanted.
Brand.
What are you doing? Son, working radio, all right? Not Cheesehead TV cash right over here.
Okay, relax.
That's what we got going on.
Just relax. Yeah, I'm out here flocking beer and trying to playing Madden in the snow for viral points. I mean,
that video was awesome, by the way. I wish you would have told me that because I would have went and whooped up on you across the street from Lambeau Field before I went in there.
This talk. I will say, okay, when it was this guy, Len, who is one of our Patreon members for Cheesehead TV, comes out from Jersey for this game, was at our meetup on Saturday, and then invited me to go play Madden at his RV. Now, I'm thinking, RV, like we're going to have a setup inside. No. There was literally a flat screen on the side of the RV, and we played outside in the snow.
God, that's awesome.
For an hour. It was awesome for about 15 minutes. And then by the end of it, this is absolutely true. I could not feel my fingers. My hands were so numb that, honest to God, on my children, I got back here to Corey's. I go and take a hot shower. Everything on my body feels the hot water. Everything except my hands. When I put my hands in the hot water, I feel nothing. It could have been scalding. It could have been boiling water. I wouldn't have felt it. Because I was outside playing freaking Madden in the snow for an hour.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's what I want to do when I grow up. Like, I mean, you think about all the different ways that you have made it. That's it. I'm playing Madden outside on the side of an RV. Some people get paid to do that. This man is also doing it for insane amount of clicks and great views. I will say, you got to train better. I mean, like if you're next time that you're playing,
dude, you have no
fan
idea.
blowing right down on your hands. So
well, it's that thing. You can't
adversity.
really replicate the elements, right? But you got to prepare for them, and I didn't prepare for it in a real way.
The only thing that would.
There was a moment where I had A.J. Dillon going into the end zone, touchdown, take the lead, and I literally slipped because of the water from the snow on the controller, and A.J. laterals the ball backwards to nobody, fumble. Len's guy drops on it. He gets the ball. I don't score.
No.
And I lost by 1 score. That would have been the deciding play.
That would have been it. You would have won.
But again, I wasn't prepared for the elements. So that's
the only thing that can prepare you to do that is play the amount of Madden that I did my sophomore year at college in a house in which we decided that we were not going to turn the heat on. All right, we decided we are not turning the heat on. It gets very sunny in here. That'll warm it up to a certain level. It gets very sunny. It's very sunny in here during the day. It'll be okay. Yeah, right? It gets very sunny, so that's all the heat that we need. Those 11 p.m.s where you were playing under 2 blankets, being able to get on in here and try to score that late third quarter touchdown.
Well, that was the thing. This is my favorite too. Yep. So we put out the video, right? Like Tyler does a great job, like commentating, blah blah blah. Does the whole thing, right? Yep. And so I throw the last pass I'm trying to run a screen. I got no timeouts left. I'm trying to run a screen to the left, try to get out of bounds, get myself a little closer to try and win the game. I literally hit the wrong button. I hit Y thinking that was the running back. Oh, Y was a receiver way downfield. But then some Yahoo in the comments, a couple Yahoos in the comments are like, you should have hit A. A was wide open.
Oh, geez.
Like,
don't
if
be
you're
that
guy, there is a special place in hell reserved for you.
Yeah.
Anyone watching someone else play Madden going A or X or somebody was open, you deserve to go to hell. That's it. You're just eternal damnation. I don't care.
Because my buddy Cody would just sit there and go, man, A was wide open. Hey.
The worst. The absolute
never
worst.
Again. Yeah, it is.
Ever.
It's one of the tough spots of it. You know what's always a good spot?
What's that?
The talking text line. And we got a couple here that I wanted to get into. LSU Brad said, is there a specific reason we don't move the pocket more with Love running the offense? With his athleticism, seems like it would be beneficial. I don't know, Nags, that they've full slid the pocket as much, but you're seeing it a bunch of different times where during some of their play action looks, they're pulling Josh Myers on out to be a safety net as he
like
rolls
a personal
on
protector.
Out.
There was one in particular, yes, to the right, where we had Jordan kind of roll instantly to his right, where Myers is out there. Kind of reminded me of like back in the day what they used to do with TJ Lang. They would do that in front of Rodgers before he took that kind of deep shot to the corner post to Jordy. But it is a very good question. And if you notice, they did do a handful of like old school rollouts, right? Like play action boot, like that kind of classic Shanahan tree stuff where, I mean, Shanahan used to spam the hell out of it. Matt certainly hasn't approached that yet, but you've seen a little more of it. I'm with you. I think they should utilize it more. And when they do, it's pretty effective because Jordan, we've seen a couple of times now where he'll roll out and he'll survey the field, kind of read high to low. And if it's not there and there's a lane, he's off to the races. But what I love is that he's not doing it like, okay, I'm going to run. It's, I am going to go through my progressions. I am going to read high to low. And then if it's not there, I will take off. And it's been really effective for them. But maybe that's because they haven't spammed it, you know?
Yeah, because they just haven't done too many times. I also think you saw a little bit towards that last possession of the first half. It almost felt like they kind of shrunk the field when they rolled him off to his right.
Yep.
And I think they try to keep that away because he does have a strong enough arm that he can utilize all 53 in the third, right? Like you might as well give yourself the opportunity to go left and right and then make that decision later.
There's a place for it, right? Especially if you start getting some of that zone stretch stuff working, like then you can play off of that. And we've seen that be really effective. I think that, makes a ton of sense. But that's the exact point I always make, especially down in the red zone when they do like sprint right option stuff. We saw that earlier this year.
Yeah.
I hate that call because I hate constricting your quarterback to, okay, well now we are completely basically cutting off half the field, right?
Yep.
I want the quarterback to have everything open to him. But, if it's a designed run, and look, they have taken advantage of Jordan's legs at time. Look no further than that play call right at the end against Detroit where they run the RPO. He keeps it. off to the races, got a 40-yard gain, basically cements the win, right? Like, they have been pretty judicious, and I think smartly so. But I will say, yeah, I think I'd like to see him outside the pocket a little bit more, a few more of those rollouts, because I think they can be really effective.
And I imagine you probably will, right?
Yes.
Like, I imagine you probably will. It could be something that they've been keeping a little bit more in the bag. Another one here from the unnamed 414 texter. Speaking of Preston Smith, ever since he got stuck on that island coverage against Bijan Robinson or Devontae Adams, I've noticed him getting stuck in those same kind of mismatch, and actually doing a pretty good job covering. Like, they haven't been targeting the pass catcher that Preston is stuck covering. That's kudos to him. Also, kudos to Texter for mentioning it when it works, and not clowning Joe Barry with a screenshot when it doesn't. And, oh, by the way, the best receiver in football gets a clean release off outside linebacker trying to get his hands on it.
Well, I mean, okay, yes, correct, 1,000%. You saw it in Detroit, especially where he drops, and I think St. Brown was in the vicinity. And, okay, yeah, he's playing his zone responsibility, as he should, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And yes, it did work.
This one right here.
But it's a whole other world when it's third down, and the whole world knows you got to pass, and you got Preston Smith lined up over freaking Devontae freaking Adams. I mean, let's just, okay, I understand. Yes, when it's effective, amazing.
Yeah.
But when there's such an obvious path to victory for the offense, I have a hard time giving kudos. Sorry, that's just me.
No, it's fine.
Especially when he admits there's not a check out of it. That's the other thing.
Sure. That's the
like,
key
look,
part.
There's Preston Smith. There's Devontae Adams. Maybe not the best idea. Can we check out of it? No, there's no check. What?
Yeah, that's the miss in there, not being a check on out of it. However, it completely contradicts he's got to do something different. Like, I mean,
right.
The guy never does anything different. Well, different. It just didn't work. I mean, we're going to keep trying some different things, but that's usually one that you're going to miss. There are plays that at every point in every game where you look and say, they're probably going to get us on this one.
They got to stop. They got to stop rushing 3, Billy. It's not good for my heart.
It's better than 2, though. It's better than rushing 2 like Auburn.
Slightly. Yeah. No, to Auburn. The Packers did it. The Packers rushed 2 against the Vikings. Big, huge.
Oh, okay. Well,
first down for the tight end there.
I thought
who was wide open despite dropping, 9 into coverage.
Well, we didn't think they were throwing it there. But
don't get me started.
Getting better.
Man. Don't get me started. Yeah, we're getting better. We've gone from rushing 2 to rushing 3.
Yeah,
big third and longs.
Oh, subtle improvement.
See, this is how you do it, man. You try to get me going. I'm not falling for the bait. I'm not going to do it.
Well, you're looking at Lambeau Field on a sun-splashed Tuesday afternoon.
Seriously out here now.
Enjoying a very ice-cold beverage that looks like there's only 1 or 2 sips left by the angle of it.
As of that last sip, there are no sips left. Carry the G is in the bag.
How about that? Aaron Nagler grabs his second cold beer.
Okay, relax.
On the other side of this timeout as Carry the G radio rolls on and wraps up on 97.3 The Game.
Do you really want to be another trend? Do you want to be part of that crowd? 'Cause I don't ever want to be you. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Electric word, life, it means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you.
Carry the G Radio. I don't want to interrupt the great, the master, Prince preaching. But then I just think, you know, well, he was a Vikings fan, so I can just keep going. It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. But I mean, you put down "Let's Go Crazy," and it's like, oh man, can we just play the music? We don't even need to talk.
It's one of those in which I probably should have fast forwarded this part. But even further, because it's not even done yet.
I know, you get to that guitar riff comes in and ready to go.
Tough spot. Sorry. Sorry. You know what? Hand raised in the air. That's an L over on this part. But there has been more user error on this radio program on many other options or many other episodes, right?
No question about it. This is comparatively, this is a smooth running operation. Today has been a feast for competency. It's been amazing.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. If I do say so myself,
I'm in awe. I'm in awe of your ability, sir. It's incredible.
Thank you.
So this Giants game, man, it's going to be apparently raining on Sunday in New York, but blustery and windy on Monday, which, you know, doesn't bode well for the passing game. Might have to button it up a little bit. Going to have to maybe pound the rock a little bit there on Monday night.
Also one where you're going to have to make sure that you are able to stop the run, which it is a Saquon Barkley day. It's one of those where you have to, where he can be 1, 2, and 3 on the focal points, and he can still have himself a big day. But it's different from this perspective. This past week, if it was an Isaiah Pacheco game, which it was.
Yes, sir.
You're saying, dang, Packers are going to have a pretty good chance of winning. If it's a Saquon Barkley game, there could be trouble in River City.
Well, here's the thing, and it's interesting because you look at that game on Sunday night, especially in the second half, and all of a sudden, you know, the Chiefs are driving, and they have a chance to go down and maybe take a lead, and they stop running the ball, which was really successful. They were
pretty nice of them,
pushing the Packers around up front, and for whatever reason, and I understand it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're always going to be, I'm not going to say pass happy, but they're going to lean on Patrick, right? Mm-hmm. But that's where the interception happens, right? When they're gaining like 5 yards a clip every time they hand the ball off. Like, I don't think that's happening with Tommy DeVito. Like, if the Giants are getting 5 yards a carry, you know, they're going to stick with it. So,
yeah,
Joe Barry and company are going to have to show up in a big way, in a way they have not against teams like the last loss the Packers had. It was Pittsburgh running at will throughout the entirety of that game for the most part. Like, that is the formula for success against the Packers, and that's the path to victory for the Giants.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Devondre Campbell, he play in the Pittsburgh game? He was just coming back in the Pittsburgh game?
I can't recall.
Or was that an Isaiah McDuffie production?
I think that was a McDuffie game. It was a McDuffie game.
And this isn't meant to be a disrespect to Isaiah McDuffie, but Devondre Campbell's paid to be your number one linebacker.
So, I mean, I will say, man, did you watch Sunday night? Devondre Campbell, let's chalk it up to rust, but they need a lot more from Campbell than they got Sunday night.
Well, and that's the deal.
Especially against the run.
Whoever is in there has to be better than it was for the Pittsburgh game, and you would hope, you would assume that it'll be better with 59 in there. But
one would hope.
Not necessarily for sure. And that's where whatever you design, you got to get guys on the ground. So as much as the coordinators can put everybody in the right positions, you got to make sure that we keep our rush lanes and don't allow leverage to the outside. You got to get guys on the ground, and you got to be able to have multiple people on 26, because otherwise he breaks arm tackles. That's kind of just what he does.
That's the thing with this defense that is so disconcerting at times, is their inability to stop a ball carrier on contact. The way this team gets dragged for extra yardage, no matter who it is, like whether it's a running back, whether it's a tight end, it doesn't matter. They'll be there. Like you say, the coordinator will put you in the spot, but you got to get them on the ground. Unless, of course, it's a quarterback in the field of play, then you can't breathe on them because it's an unnecessary roughness penalty, apparently.
I saw your video.
Baby.
Wow. I waited this long to bring it up. Nags, you knew that flag was coming out. You cannot tell me you've watched NFL football for far too long.
Look,
you knew
Patrick
that flag
Mahomes
was coming out
in the first game of this season against the Detroit Lions. End of the game. He's running up the right sideline, pretends like he's going to slide, then doesn't, and gains like 4 more yards.
Mm-hmm.
You're between the white lines, you get hit. That's the game of football. I'm with Matt LaFleur, who said exactly that on Monday. If you're between the lines, you're on the green, we're not going to change how we coach it. We're not going to change our approach. Hit that guy.
Yeah.
Hit him. Jonathan Owens did nothing wrong.
There's only one thing that's different. I think there's maybe 1 to 2 players that get that call that Pat Mahomes did. Maybe Aaron Rodgers, right?
I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
Pat Mahomes. Josh Allen ain't getting that call.
Nope.
Right? I mean, maybe Tua's getting that call because they're hypersensitive
to Tua.
To him. Yeah. But that's a Michael Jordan. That's a LeBron James. That's a
just put flags on them if this is how we're going to play.
No.
If this is how we're going to play the game of football, just put flags on them. It's a garbage call.
But
the fact that they had a conference about it, the fact that they had a gaggle of dudes, like an old sewing circle, sitting there going, well, I don't know, I saw a very egregious hit on the quarterback there. Like, in the field of play. Why even play the games? Why play? Just call it off. Cancel the season because we're not allowed to freaking hit people anymore.
You knew he was getting that flag. You knew he was getting that call. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to flush you. It's been so much fun. But it's true. It was a tough call. It's a bad one that goes against you.
It's nonsense. It's complete
But you know
nonsense.
what? It just made it so much sweeter.
That's right.
Just made that win so much sweeter like it will on
correct.
Sunday night.
You got to rise above it, baby. You got to rise above bad officiating, which is what the
Green
Bay
Bay Packers
Packers
fight through that
did.
adversity.
That's right. No question.
And that's what they'll continue to do. And that's what Aaron Nagler does every single day every Tuesday when he does this radio program. Because I throw adversity at you all day. And this 50-year-old weirdo answers the freaking bell every single time. Proud of you. Great work today.
That's how I'm built, man. It's how I'm built. Make sure, if you're out there in the Wisconsin area, anywhere across this great state of yours, find yourself some Carry the G cream ale available throughout Wisconsin. You can go to cheeseheadtv.com. Click the beer tab. Yes, we have a tab entitled Beer. You have a list of everywhere it's available here in Wisconsin, including Ridgeview Liquor right up here on Ridge Road where we were on Saturday for apparently one of their most successful tastings ever. More than 14 cases out the door Saturday afternoon.
Wow.
People love it, man. It's good stuff.
You go pick yourself up 14 cases for the holidays and make sure you have some coming up for next Tuesday when we do this thing again, brother.
I may have a couple 2-tree.
Couple 2-tree. I like that. I love it. You enjoy some Krolls, you enjoy some Carry the G, and you enjoy Green Bay, and I'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you Tuesday, Billy. Have a great time on Packers OT on Monday night. I'll talk to you Tuesday.
We'll talk to you on Tuesday again on Carry the G Radio, on Cheesehead TV's YouTube page, and 97.3 The Game.
Stronger than steel.